Hi there. So today I am going to be discussing the Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. This is book 3 in the Heroes of Olympus series, and I just finished like 10 minutes ago, and then I went outside for a few minutes to get some fresh air before I come to you to talk about it. So today is October 8th, which is the day that the House of Hades comes out. Whatever, it just came out since I can't talk. So I was told that this ended in a cliffhanger a long time ago, so I'd be really smart to wait as long as possible until the release of the House of Hades. I didn't mean to wait till the day of. That's just kind of what happened. So this is going to be a discussion, so there's going to be lots of spoilers. Please go read the Percy Jackson series and the other books, and come here after you read this one. It's really good. It's really, really good. Every single book by Rick Riordan is 5 stars. It's full of action and amazing characters, and you're gonna love it. So go read them and then come back later because they're awesome. Okay, so my heart is like pounding still, and I'm just so. And I know I have the House of Hades. I know it's not a big deal because I can go read and continue. I can't imagine what the rest of you did a year ago when you finished this freaking book and that was the ending and then you had to wait. I honestly would have tried to have I would have tried to totally forget and like put it out of my mind completely because I feel like it would have driven me just mad. I don't have to wait, and so I think all the people that recommended that I wait, closer to the release date of House of Hades. Unfortunately, the ending was not 100% of a surprise because I was spoiled on Tumblr. And Tumblr is amazing, but unfortunately, if you look up tags such as, I've looked up Percy Jackson before, and I was looking up, I think I was still reading the Percy Jackson series, and I saw something about this book. And people just put spoilers out, and it's so frustrating. Alright, so this book, 5 stars, so incredible. The ending was just... So obviously the ending was unexpected and scary and nerve-wracking and frustrating, and my heart is beating really fast. But I still liked it. I mean, the whole book as a whole. So... the book starts out, it's really cool that all 7 are together, they're on the Argo 2, and it's really neat to have them all come together. And we've heard about this prophecy since the end of the 5th book, so it's really cool. We're going to get the Romans and the Greeks together, and I should have known it wouldn't have been that easy, but I definitely did not guess that Leo would become possessed and would start shooting at the Romans. I was so confused when that started happening. I was like, what? There's no way Leo would do that. Leo is so good, and he's one of my favorite characters. And I was like, why? There's no way. I didn't think someone was possessing him, but I figured Gaia or Gia or I don't know how to say her name, and I've actually Googled it. I keep finding different answers. So I'm going to call her Gaia. This book starts out and it's frustrating because right from the beginning we already have even more conflict, and we don't need that more conflict. We have already Gaia that's trying to kill them. So they separate, the ship is damaged and they have to stop for supplies. I loved how throughout the book, it was kind of nerve-wracking because they were splitting up, but at the same time it was kind of cool because their little individual quests were interesting. Whenever Leo goes and he meets the really arrogant guy, is it Narcissus or something like that? He was so funny, and I remember reading that story in my mythology class, and it was hilarious how Leo comes in with his shirt and his hair slicked back, and he is just so clever. And Hazel ends up getting the shield thing out of the pond, and they make a run for it, and that whole scene was just hilarious and so funny. I love Leo. I was really freaked out when Percy and Jason got possessed, and coming into it with the 7 together, I guess I didn't really think about how Percy and Jason were probably going to butt heads because they were both leaders. And then this happened with them being possessed, And I honestly thought they were gonna, like, I was scared for a minute, and then I started looking at the front cover of the book, and I was like, oh my god, it's happening! And then Piper exorcised the demon. It was really creepy when they were on the boat, and she's like, raise your hand, and all of a sudden they're just like, their heads slumped forward, and I'm like, oh my god, and Frank's like freaking out, like, oh my god. So then Frank, Percy, and Coach go off, and that whole part with like Gaia's son. And I knew it was going to go bad, but it was one of those times you're just waiting for it and you don't know what's going to happen. I could not believe he tried to keep Percy in like a tank. For once, Coach Hedge actually did something and saved them. I thought it was pretty funny how Frank turned into a goldfish. So they meet with Aphrodite, which was neat. And then the whole deal with like the Romans meeting up, and then Annabeth is so stinking smart, and she like throws her dagger into the sea where she knows Percy is. Percy just comes up with this like wave of water and just like washes away the Romans, and he's just like, you dropped this? Percy's so funny. So I just want to say that I really enjoyed The Lost Hero. I really enjoyed The Son of Neptune, and in each book, individually, I really liked all the characters, but now that they're all together, I'm comparing them a lot more. It's like without even really meaning to. And I'm not liking Jason as much, and I'm loving Percy like normal, and I'm not liking Piper as much, but I'm loving Annabeth, and Frank is starting to get on my nerves, but I still love Leo, and then Hazel's like in between, and I still really like Nico. So it's strange that now that they're together, I'm doing that. It's like they'll go on these quests, and then it's just like I keep comparing things that they do, and along with that, you see that Percy and Jason are starting to do this thing where they're trying to clearly be like better than one another, and Percy's like, oh, I've never seen him fly before. He looks like a blonde Superman. So Leo and Hazel's like the daydream thing that was so sad how it was like really, it was freaky for Leo, and he like sees himself basically, it looks like him, and then he's like, man, this is the way I should be, like how confident he is and how funny he is, and look at how Hazel is looking at him like, man, he, you know, she really likes him and all this stuff, and then you find out that that's like his great-grandfather or something like that, and then it shows like Leo's mom, which was really sad for him, and then it shows baby Leo, and that's crazy for both of them how like that happened. So after the ship gets attacked because Leo got distracted and didn't do the sonar thing, I really thought it was interesting when Frank, Leo, and Hazel get taken down with those like fish people, and you know, Frank and Leo kind of start talking, and then I love, what was his name, like the Afro guy, how he starts talking to Leo about his brownie like recipe, and Rick Riordan creates like some of the funniest people. I love that they kept like more how Jason was kind of keeping watch for a while, and then they switched to the sea and Percy was keeping watch, and they kept getting attacked. And when they were up in the sky and like this wild Pegasus, I guess like tramples Coach Hedges' enchiladas, and he's like, what was that for? Percy came through on so many times in this book, and like with the Mr. like when he thought of like they were on the ship and they were being attacked by those dolphin people, and then he thinks of like the whole trick with Frank and the dolphin, and then like with Mr. D, and then they do it as like tribute at the soda, which was so funny. That was so brilliant. Percy is so smart, and he keeps coming through with these ideas, and it'll be like in an instant he's like, I've got an idea. I could never do something like that. And then once again Jason and them were just like knocked out. I thought it was really sad whenever Annabeth had to go on her own quest, and like I knew that was gonna happen, like it was in the prophecy, but it was still sad because like of how Percy was reacting, and then like how he was talking about like, you know, how he was taught to walk his date to the door and all this stuff, and he takes her out, and it was so sad. And then they meet up with Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck, and I like love that movie, The Roman Holiday, and I could not, I was like, what? I want to freaking ride off on a scooter with Audrey Hepburn. And then switching on the other side when Leo and Hazel, and then we're off, and then Leo finds all of that awesome mechanical stuff, and he wants to take like the scrolls back. And I love it when like the ghosts are like knocking on the door, and he's like, who is it? And he's like, Valdez. And he's like, Valdez who? And then while all this is happening, Jason and Piper are on a picnic. So here we have Annabeth, who is like risking her life. We had just finished a chapter, and you know now what she's facing. She's like hurt her ankle, broken it, whatever. And then now she has to meet this huge spider, which is like the enemy of Athena. And then we have Leo, Hazel, and Frank, who are getting attacked by these ghosts, who they promise not to come back into their bodies, but they are possessing like robots now. And then Jason and Piper are on a picnic. I don't understand. I mean, there were many occasions in this book when I got like irritated with them, because it's like, what are you doing? The twin giants were pretty funny with like the show, and I didn't actually, like, those were another couple that I don't really take seriously. Like, I was actually scared about the spider for a little bit. But I wasn't, like, and then Rick kind of makes it, like, the anticipation and stuff, like, it mounts and it's scary. But with, like, the twin giants, they're kind of just funny, and, like, you figured they probably were going to defeat them, and even when they started getting tired, you knew something was going to happen, and, like, Mr. D appears, and I felt bad because he was kind of just making a game out of it, and Percy and Jason were, like, so tired, but they actually did work together really well. And so I was really happy when Mr. D appeared, and like everything was going well. But then like Annabeth is so smart, and I can't believe she thought about that. Like, you want all the gods to see your work, and you know, we can put this right in the throne room and blah blah blah. And it's like she just couldn't, the monster like couldn't even, there's no way she could resist that. Like, that's what she's always wanted, is to be noticed and for people to praise her work. I couldn't believe she actually had found the statue, and she tricked her, and that was so smart. But as soon as she had started talking about the four, and how like, and Tartarus, and that was just so nerve-wracking, and I was very frustrated with how it all ended. And I know no one's perfect, but the way that they were so focused on the statue and not just each other and keeping each other's backs was so frustrating. And Leo went up, and Frank, you know, carried him, and I felt like that should have been enough when he was like harpooning it and like putting this, you know, rope down. And I just felt like, you know, what was Piper doing? Like, why couldn't have they just taken her to the ship and immediately come back? And that's what Jason said he was going to do. And I just don't see how, like, Annabeth even said, like, when they were hanging, that at this point, there's no way, even if they were coming, they wouldn't reach them in time, because Annabeth, like, couldn't even, she was just exhausted. And if you think about how much they go through, I totally understand that. And it's just frustrating, because I feel like something else could have happened. But I guess ultimately, maybe this is what had to happen. I just wish it wasn't, I just wish it hadn't been Percy and Annabeth that had to go to Tartarus, because I understand Nico explained, like, the doors of death have to be closed on both sides. But how are they going to even get there? And then once they're closed, Percy and Annabeth are still in Tartarus. So how do they get out? You pretty much can't get out. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know who's going to be like sacrificed, or what's going to happen. It's so frustrating and upsetting, but I do believe that Nico will take them there to the other side of the door, one way or another. It's probably going to be showing them like going through different quests and arriving there, and then I think, I don't know, I think that Rick Riordan's going to show just jumping back and forth between the two halves, and it's going to be really interesting to see it on Percy and Annabeth's side, because, you know, we don't really know that much about Tartarus, and I don't know how they're going to make it. I mean, they're just two demigods, and I don't know what they're going to do. I have the House of Hades. It came out today. I got it from Barnes & Noble, so it came with a color map of Hades inside, and it's like in the back, and it says, open at your own risk. And I saw on his Twitter that it said there's spoilers in it, so I'm not going to do that. I already learned my lesson with things hidden in covers with Clockwork Princess, so I'm not going to do that. But anyways, let me know what you guys saw of Mark of Athena, and I'm going to go read this, and then my review of this will be up really shortly. My heart's still racing from Mark of Athena. I can't wait to find out, like, what happens. To my wonderful readers, sorry about that last cliffhanger. Well, no, not really. Ha ha ha. But seriously, I love you guys. Oh, Rick. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Let me know what you guys thought of the Mark of Athena. I'm sorry if you had to wait this long gap, and I didn't, and I'm already stressed. And so I'm gonna go read it, and I'll talk to you guys later.